The Hollow Sound Project. In the late 1960s, buried deep within an abandoned mining facility in northern Finland, a group of Soviet and Scandinavian scientists conducted what they later referred to only as the Hollow Sound Project. Officially, the site was meant for seismic research, measuring the vibrations of the Earth to predict earthquakes and study the crust. Unofficially, the project spiraled into one of the most disturbing psychological experiments ever attempted. The premise was deceptively simple: expose human subjects to pure silence. Not the silence you or I know, with distant cars or the hum of electricity, but absolute, engineered silence. The mine shafts were lined with lead and concrete, insulated with layers of soundproofing material. Every frequency above 10 decibels was scrubbed out. The result? A chamber so devoid of sound that the only thing left was the blood rushing in your ears, the pulse in your head, and eventually, the noises your own brain begins to manufacture. 8 volunteers entered, 4 men, 4 women, promised stipends and recognition for pioneering research in human endurance. Each was locked in a chamber alone, equipped with minimal food, water, and a cot. The only rule: endure 30 days. By day 3, the journals, later recovered, show that most had already begun to fray. Sleep became almost impossible. Without environmental noise, the brain couldn't distinguish waking thought from dream logic. One man reported hearing his dead brother whisper his name behind him. A woman described the sensation of something crawling under her skin, synchronized to her heartbeat. By day 7, the hallucinations converged. Despite being separated, subjects began to report identical voices. A low, droning male voice muttering in Finnish, repeating fragments of words they could not quite translate. "Not prayer," one woman wrote in her notebook. "Closer to a command." On day 10, one of the researchers monitoring through infrared claimed to see a subject sit upright and speak, though no sound reached the microphones. His lips formed words that, when analyzed, seemed to match what another subject was scribbling in her journal across the compound at that exact moment. 2 individuals, in separate chambers, repeating the same unheard phrase. By day 15, things collapsed. Food rations were ignored, water untouched. Some tore strips of their bedding to block imaginary drafts, though the chambers were climate-controlled. 3 subjects began mutilating themselves, not in rage, but with precision, as though guided. They pulled fingernails, traced patterns into their arms, carved symbols that no linguist has ever been able to fully decode. Only 2 were alive when security finally intervened on day 21. The others were found collapsed in positions that suggested they'd been kneeling, as though listening. The 2 survivors resisted removal violently, clawing and biting at the guards. Neither spoke again in any coherent language, but when forced into separate facilities, both repeated the same thing, scrawled in their own blood on the padded walls. "The silence is not empty, it is waiting." The project was buried, the mine sealed. Most of the researchers vanished into other government projects, some defecting, others never heard from again. Officially, the Hollow Sound Project does not exist, but in fragments of declassified reports, one phrase repeats over and over in the margins, written in different hands, across different documents, almost as though the researchers themselves could not help but write it down. Once you hear it, you cannot unhear it.